Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, May 8th. Prices of BTC currently at 5,839. After seeing that top yesterday around 59.75 or so right there, we did get rejected, and you could see that we hit the top of this triangle almost perfectly. As I'd mentioned, that this would be hopefully an area that would be turned resistance into support, right? So remember, as I've stated before, that if you're part of the Advantage program, you've kind of learned this over and over. When we have key resistance levels like this, okay, you can see that's four times that level was hit almost perfectly, right? And then once you sort of bounce up and away from it, usually you want to turn this area into support, okay? And you can see it was turned into support multiple times. And then finally, we broke down right through it yesterday on the Binance hacked news, okay? Now, the one interesting thing about this is we did break down right through it with a couple of hourly candles, but as you can see, there's a sharp rebound by the bulls, pushing the prices up even higher and holding them above this level for a majority of the time. Why? Because they know that these are the dip buying opportunities, okay? For the most part, guys, these dip buying opportunities have been coming up in the same manner over and over again. Even over here, when we heard about that Bitfinex and Tether FUD, right? I guess I wouldn't really call it FUD, but rather the news, okay? You can see that big shakeout that happened when price was already overextended, okay? When price is already overextended and you have a big shakeout like this, or rather some news popping into the market stating that there's something wrong with the space, or there's funds missing, or there's hacks, whatever, you usually have, a rather easier way to shake out some people from the market and scare them into selling into smarter hands who essentially buy the dip. Okay, so they bought the dip right there, and people bought the dip right here. Okay, why? Because they go along with the theory that we've been talking about, which is that we still have a bit of a movement to go. The bulls have essentially been pretty strong all from way down here, or rather way down here, February or so. Okay, once we had this bottom in February around 33.60, these are the strong productions by the bulls to create some higher lows and some higher highs. Okay, we haven't even stopped this. All right, we consistently keep on moving up. As you can see from right here, we now have another couple of higher lows. Even if we came down to these levels right here, say 5,400, 5,300, it would still maintain this ascending trend line that we've been maintaining, right? So this is why I think that these are your great dip buying opportunities, especially in alts that have been progressing really well as BTC moves up, right? So I'll go through those in a little bit, but here's something that I wanted to sort of mock up. Here's that, ascending triangle again, but now let's map out something like this, okay? So here's that. This looks like let's see, let me put this up here. All right, and if we keep this line as is, let me just change the color on this. Actually, let me change the color on this one. Okay, you could see that if we take this line into account and this line right here, you could see this is sort of like a parallel channel, but maybe a ascending broadening wedge. Okay, ascending broadening wedges, what they do is they expand the range higher and higher, and the wedge broadens. Versus a ascending rising wedge, they go like this, and the price comes in like that, and usually price sort of hovers in this area and it tightens, and usually these drop off. Okay, the ascending broadening wedges are somewhat similar, but they just move in a higher range. And these broadening wedges do have a higher potential to break down. Okay, now again, that breakdown doesn't mean that it has to go down all the way to 4,000 or anything. It just means that it has a higher potential to break to the downside of the broadening wedge. It could very well come pick up in this area right here, or it might bounce off, say, I don't know, 4,900 or even 5,000 if we just rip right through it. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. All right, so for the most part though, the interesting thing is this was all supply right here, and now it has turned into demand. Okay, smart traders and algos look at the same things that you and I are looking at. If you know what you're doing in this space, you know how support turns into resistance and vice versa. You know exactly which levels to look out for, which patterns to look out for, which moving averages, Fibonacci levels, cloud levels, etc. Right? We go through a lot of things in the Cryptosomniac Advantage channel, and if you are an Advantage member, you know all these things. Okay, so for the most part, here's something that's also interesting, is that price is trying to make its way past this 400 moving average. Okay, this was a critical moving average, guys, and you know, something like this does not get broken easily unless there's a significant amount of bullish pressure coming from the bottom. Okay, holding price up, pushing price up, and clearly this is evident right here that we've, as shown you before, the higher lows have been maintaining pretty strongly, and consistent higher highs too, right? So if this was the high right here, we secured a high right there, another high right there, another high right there. Okay, this is only evident in markets that have, at least in this range right here, turned bullish. Okay, now unless we see structural changes, when we see 62, 6,300 hit, and then we start seeing rip through significant, you know, levels of higher lows as well as higher highs, I would not be wanting to let go of my positions just yet. I will more than likely look at how the battle of the bears and the bulls are between that, you know, 6,000 region, the middle 6,000 region, and then buy or sell accordingly. Okay, but for now, the Cryptosomniac Advantage community and I do have some exposure in the market, some of which is in LTC. So let me show you guys LTC. We're doing decent on LTC. We're going to probably average in a little bit more. LTC, as you can see, is coming down to this middle channel again. And every time it's come to the middle channel, it bounces off really nicely. I'm hoping it doesn't break this middle channel, however, as you know, you don't want to be coming down to test this channel over and over again, right? Okay, so LTC is one of our trades. BCH is another. And guys, the reason we've picked these trades is, again, if you're not part of the Advantage program, I mentioned this yesterday, BCH, LTC, and Ethereum have some of the highest correlation to BTC. Okay, so meaning that if BTC actually moves on up, BCH, LTC, and Ethereum have actually a higher propensity to move on up with it, but with a higher percent. Okay, same thing on the downside though. If BTC moves down 1%, all three of these will probably move down 1.5% or maybe even 2%. Okay, so it kind of sucks on the downside moves too, but it also provides great dip buying opportunities, like I stated earlier. All right, so this ascending triangle that I was hoping for right here, this top line and then this line right here has kind of been broken. So I'm going to delete this because you can see this candle escaped outside of that. Now we sort of have, I guess, a different hope of hopefully maybe having something like this. Quite possibly we might move on up, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I would say, as I stated earlier, when BTC has gone down, BCH, Ethereum, and LTC go down pretty hard too. And as you can see over the last couple of hours or so, or day or two, one BTC did go down after hitting that 5950. These couple of assets did come down even harder. So do keep an eye on BCH and BTC actually, because your moves for BCH and LTC and Ethereum are all dependent on Bitcoin. Okay, so for the most part, I'm hoping that this ascending triangle breaks out, because my targets then become 333 as well as 390. Okay, Last but not least, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is currently at 167, it seems. Or wait a second, is it 167 or 168? Yeah, it's actually at 168 right now. It held this level pretty well, this 167 level that was previous resistance right here. Okay, so it flipped out into support, and now I expect Ethereum to keep climbing up above to 175 up here, 180 as the next target, and then my higher targets become about the 190s. Okay, so 193 might be my next one, and then about 260-ish. Okay, then beyond that, it's 400 and above. All right, so Ethereum is going to, if it does break out of this, big sort of supply area, it's going to break out big, guys. So do keep an eye on this. Okay, again, I'm giving you this as free analysis, free tips, no investment advice, but do come join our channel because we have trade setups like this all day long, and we provide setups all through the day, Bitcoin analysis like this every single day. All right, cryptosomniac.com products page, check it out. Okay, so some other ones. Let's check out TRX. I've been watching this every single day, kind of sick of it now. Yeah, nothing special on TRX. Sort of looks like it's bouncing off 786. So you're probably wondering, right? When exactly do you need to buy on fib levels, and where do you set your stops? Okay, so a good rule of thumb is, the 50 and the 618 Fibonacci levels are usually the strongest ones to hold a reversal in a particular asset. Unfortunately, in the crypto space, I've actually seen 786 fib become the norm that 618 is for the stock market. Okay, so if you were to map out this fib like I did, and you placed a buy on 786 fib, you're supposed to put your stop a few percent under it, right? So from here, your stop would be, say, right about there. Okay, so let's just say 4.4% or so. So your stop would be right around say 380. Okay, if you bought in right there. Now another way to buy it safely is, you're probably thinking, well, maybe I'll just get stopped out, so what's the point? Well, that's a great point. Another way you can look at it is this. All right, start going on to the 4-hour, 12-hour time frames, and start looking for these kinds of higher lows. Okay, so far we've only had one higher low, right? What you want to see is consistent higher lows, okay, like that, but also consistent higher highs that take out key levels, okay, like these, to ensure that the trend is shifting. So you'd have to wait for this level to be broken, and then you'd have to wait for this level to be broken. And just to be very, very safe, you'd want to wait for this red key level to be broken. What this implies is once price gets above one previous swing high, two previous swing highs, and three previous swing highs, that means that price is now showing strength with higher lows and higher highs, and it's about to climb over the next fib level, which is that 618 fib. So price has essentially gained momentum, maybe had a trend shift, and now you may feel a little bit more comfortable buying in at a higher level because you now know that you don't have to play the guessing game of if prices are going to go higher or not, rather than just getting stopped out down here. All right, I hope that makes sense. Let's go over XRP. Still nothing special on XRP, no significant bounce yet. I think it's really hanging on by a thread right here. Even when BTC sneezes up or down, XRP kind of just falls apart. It is coming to that critical oversold level on the RSI, I've noticed. Let's check it out real quick. Let me see. I really hate this default color. I don't know why they do that. All right, so you could see the, whoops, there we go. XRP is hitting oversold levels on the RSI on the weekly chart, currently at about 27 points. The daily is definitely oversold. As you can see, it's been hovering in the oversold level for almost a month now. So a lot of selling happening. Clearly, this asset has been just given up on. So do be careful, but keep an eye on this level down here, guys. 4,000, 4,200. You know, like we stated earlier, if you want to be safe and wait for a strong bounce, you're gonna have to wait above key levels. So if 4,000 breaks, you're gonna have to wait above, say, 5,400 or so, just to ensure that this is not a false breakout. Or you can place a buy right here, and your stop's gonna be a little bit deeper, around, say, 3,800 or so. All right. All right, folks. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here in a second. Nothing special on the weekly chart. Still doing pretty good though. You know, in terms of the weekly charts, consistently pushing up higher and higher, breaking out of this sort of descending channel, descending broadening wedge. This was a very positive sign once we finally broke out of it. As you can see, you know, this first week of April candle was really significant in breaking out of key levels like this 4,000 resistance, as well as this descending, you know, trend line. Okay, but now you're sort of facing this big ascending trend line that comes in from way back here. So one touch, two touch, multiple touches all through the bull market, and now we're facing that same level right there. Okay, I bet we have some, you know, critical levels that are waiting for us on the way up. I think the 50 moving average, I want to say, is somewhere around there. Let me turn that one on. Okay, so the 50 moving average on the weekly chart has essentially been broken too, right there, which I think is fairly close to the 400 moving average, I want to say. So again, pretty positive signs. Especially when we're about to start meeting this big overhanging supply that we have right there. As you can see, we're coming up really close to it. So things are going to get really interesting in the rest of the month of May. All right. That's all I have, folks. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. And please do come join our Cryptosomniac Advantage community. Find me on Discord and message me. Let me know if you're interested. And I hope to talk to y'all soon. All right. Cheers.